Hi, this is Peggy Miller, Highland Winds LLC. This is the Medical Herbal podcast series, and today I'm talking about heart key deficiency. This is the chronic and specific issues section where I deal with if you have something you feel is chronic. The previous sections, there was 20 episodes on maintenance. If you just think you generally healthy but want to understand which herbs to use at your age for just general maintenance. And before that, I did an overview, which was on the terminology of the Chinese and the Ayurvedic traditional herbalism. Medical herbalists, particularly Chinese and Ayurvedic herbalists, can be found now sprinkled throughout the United States. And it has become disciplines that are used regularly. It's based on extremely thorough research. And so if what you hear in any of these episodes is interest to you and you feel you'd like to seek one out, find a certified medical herbalist trained in either Chinese or Ayurvedic herbalism and get to know how they look on your system. But today I'm talking about heart key deficiency. This is the third one in a key deficiency. I talked about spleen key deficiency and lung key deficiency, and now I'm talking about the heart. Basically, they all are critical. Key deficiency, which is energy, too low of energy. Fatigue is one of the common symptoms, but then you have to pinpoint which area of the body is probably being represented here. And with key deficiency, you need to make sure that you not only pinpoint it, but that you provide enough herbs to help increase the energy level. But the approach to this is both using herbs that directly increase energy, the various forms of ginseng like codonopsis or renchen will do that. Astragalus is another. It increases ki. But in addition, like for the heart, the person will be usually experiencing palpitations, some kind of heart pain. They'll have pallor. Their face will be quite gray. That means not enough blood is getting up to the brain. Or if the blood's getting there, it's not, doesn't have enough nutrients. So usually when you're dealing with signs of key deficiency, and the tongue, looking at the tongue is one part of this because as well as the pallor on the face, that immediately indicates that not enough blood or that blood is not nutritious enough. So usually when there is heart key deficiency, you will also have heart blood deficiency. There's not enough nutrients in the blood, either just as a direct result of diet. The diet doesn't have enough nutrients. You often find this with those who don't eat meat. Meat is an easier way to provide the blood with nutrients. So if you don't eat meat, you walk a more slender path in terms of trying to keep your blood nourished enough with all of the proper nutrients. But in addition, with ki, it can be caused by a number of things. Extreme grief can cause heart key deficiency. That alone is one of the hallmarks and often does cause it. It can also be resulting from long-term illness or a bad hemorrhage in the heart. And when these things happen, you need to not only make sure that the person is receiving enough of good blood-nourishing herbs, but also herbs that help increase ki, increase energy. And so there are different formulas for this. One, baked licorice combination can often be recommended, or you can, and baked licorice basically uses a combination of blood-nourishing herbs as well as herbs to help stimulate and warm the system, and then an herb like ginseng to increase ki. So it's different, it's combination. And if you go see a medical herbalist, they may prefer to just combine herbs, because usually if you're working with someone that has this, you double check other things. Why is the ki low? Is the spleen operating correctly? Is food being digested correctly? Are there signs of blood stagnation as well as just ki deficiency? And so often a medical herbalist, a Chinese or Ayurvedic herbalist, will want to put together a formula that reflects that person's needs. It will often include some herbs to help clear any blood stagnation. It will include herbs to help nourish blood and herbs to help increase ki. So basically, there will be a combination of herbs that go into the formula. But this can be dealt with, and if those types of symptoms sound correct, and in addition to fatigue and palpitations and the pallor, a lot of times there'll be shortness of breath, the inability to, really extreme shortness of breath that you just notice as not being the normal. And this can occur suddenly. If you have a situation where you really have suffered an extremely sad grief-type traumatic occurrence, the heart can protest quickly, and you'll suddenly have these symptoms, whereas the week before you did not. So it's not something that just impacts our elderly, though that often, because you have accumulation of grief situations over time. Through a course of a lifetime, there will be many types of occurrences that are sad, that you have to grapple with. And it's good, actually, to get some herbs, to get a tea, a combination of herbs that will, if you've had a situation that is very sad and created grief in your life, then it's really good to do a kind of a combination of any blood stagnation clearing, because the heart usually bleeds from it, as well as some herbs to help just soothe and relax the nerves. And then and danshen is a good blood clearing herb. For soothing, oat star or passion flower are both good. Schizandra is another good one. I know I talk about it often, but it is. It helps with soothing. It helps with tension that can be a part of a grief situation. Tension often is a result of, feeling that kind of thing. So just taking a few of those types of herbs together in a tea will do a great deal of help. Mimosa bark is another one. It really helps soothe the heart. I call it one of my heart-soothing herbs because it does. It helps. So there are a number of herbs which together can really help. Jujube dates. If blood nourishment is a part of the symptoms, then jujube dates are they're not that small. They're about half the size of a regular full date. They are very good for the heart. They're calming, they're blood nourishing, and so they can help the heart. In essence, it gives the heart some nourishment to replenish itself after a situation, whether it's a terrible tragedy or whether it is a bad accident or a very bad chronic illness. The heart needs to be helped. And so these types of herbs can do that. So when you're looking at a situation where these kind of symptoms do seem correct, I'd advise that you find a medical herbalist and sit down with them and start to learn about the types of herbs that can help your overall situation. The teas are a very good way to start. There are also additional formulas which, depending upon what combination of situations, whether there is blood deficiency and blood stagnation, and even often key stagnation. And so there are different combinations of formulas, like one called Heavenly Emperor, that really helps to work on the heart in terms of both stagnation and deficiency. And you can get many of these in pill form. So do some looking around, but if those are your types of symptoms, I would highly recommend that you find a medical herbalist in your area and sit down with them and start to learn a lot more about the approach to what's going on with your heart. The reason I strongly recommend in this situation that you do so is because often when a medical herbalist is approaching it, there's in terms of the training one receives, you do the clearing of stagnation and heat first, predominantly. Meaning, if all you do is quickly pour in a bunch of tonifying herbs and you don't do any clearing of stagnation, like if there's stagnant blood or stagnant qi, it needs to be cleared so things are flowing smoothly again. And it's okay to do a little bit of nourishment along with that clearing action, but to just simply dump tonifying herbs, then the stagnation will get worse. And so stagnation has to occur, but with a little bit of the tonifying at first, and then add in more and more nourishment as you go through the weeks of taking the herbs, using the teas, and trying to help your heart get back to a happy medium. That doesn't take away the grief. It doesn't take away that, but it deals with the physical impacts on your body of that grief if you have had a traumatic situation. Trauma is difficult, and it needs to be paid attention to. We often forget, and we try to be stoic. People are often very stoic about grief, thinking that they don't need to, or that there's nothing they can do, that they just have to live with it. There's no question that whatever occurred, those memories are going to be there. But you can address the impacts on your heart. And it's very important that you do that, and you will feel better. You will feel, not only will the palpitations go away and the fatigue. You can really reduce the fatigue a lot, if not eliminate it. So you'll feel better. You'll feel like walking again. You'll have the energy to get out and do things. And yes, you will still have the grief if that's what occurred. Or if you had a traumatic accident, you'll have not only the memory of that and just the reactions to it, but you will have at least dealt with the physical impacts of that. And it's very important to do that. I hope this has been of some use. And if I'm hitting home with some of these symptoms, etc., seek out a medical herbalist. And so this is Peggy Miller, and this is Highland Winds, and a shout out to both KFGM and to MCAT for airing these, and to YouTube. These are now being put on once a week. They appear on the Highland Winds LLC YouTube channel. So check that out. All right? You have a good day. Take care.